Yo, what is up? Welcome to Ninja Geek Games. We're going to take a look at Sins from Cartadoo Games. This small box is a deck builder and contains loads of cards for 2 players. In this game you use power to buy cards to strengthen your deck and can then use this power to also attack your opponent where they need to defend by spending the same type of weakness to negate the attack. Fail and they take despair that can be later used to score dominance. Let's take a quick look at the card anatomy and rules. To set up the game, first deal each player 10 Cosmos cards. That becomes their initial deck. The remaining Sins cards are shuffled and placed between players to form the realm. Each player then draws 1 card from this deck and compares the number in the bottom left corner. The player with the higher number comes to first player and these cards are then destroyed and removed from the game. You then draw 5 cards from the realm to form a market deck that players can buy from. Each player then takes the dominance card, as well as a player reference card, and then draw 5 cards from their deck to become their starting hand. And that's the setup complete. The game has 4 phases: status, buy, attack and refresh, where one player completes all 4 phases before the other player's turn. The status phase is where you can score dominance, but this phase is skipped for the first 2 rounds, so we'll come back to this later. In the buy phase, the first thing you do is refresh the realm so that there are always 5 cards to choose from. You can then use powers from cards in your hand to try and match any weakness of cards in the realm. In the first few turns, you'll be using these Cosmos cards. This Omnis power can be used to match any one weakness icon of cards in the realm. Therefore, if I wanted to buy this card with 2 Ignis weakness icons, I'd need to spend 2 Omnis power from my hand. You claim the card and it goes into your discard. Later in the game, you'll have more advanced cards in your hand, and these power icons let you match any of the weakness icons of cards in the realm. So here, I have cards showing 3 Terror icons, which match the 3 Terror weakness on this card, and I can buy this card. Not only that, any card play for power, you can actually use the special ability or effect of that card at that time, and you can continue to buy as many cards as you can afford, noting that each power symbol can only be used once. Also, 2 different power icons can also be used to match any one weakness icon on the cards in the realm, and any single power icon can be used to match an Omnis weakness. Any cards that were played or collected from the realm then go into your discard pile. In the attack phase, you can play cards for power to try and overcome your opponent's weakness. If you have any cards in your hand after the buy phase, you can play them one at a time and can activate any special effects. The defending player can then choose to play a card from their hand to negate the powers using the weakness icons. So if I decide to play this card with the blue viscous power icon, after any special ability is played, the opponent can then try to negate this power by then playing a card with the matching weakness icons like this. I can then play another card and activate its effect. Again, the opponent can then play a card for weakness. Remembering that Omnis weakness can match any one power icon. If at any point the opponent chooses not to play a card or cannot play a card, they pass and can no longer attempt to match power from my cards even if I keep attacking. So here, if I decide to play another Terror power icon, the defender chooses not to play because in their hand their weakness doesn't match the Terror icon. And then once I decide to stop attacking, we need to see if any despair is given to the defender. To do this, you simply determine if there are any unmatched power icons from the attacker's played cards. If there are, then the defender suffers 1 despair per unmatched icon. So in this attack, I played 1 viscous and 2 Terror power icons. Defender was able to match the viscous power icons and 1 Terror icon. However, this one is unmatched, so the defender would suffer 1 despair. To suffer despair, the attacker draws 1 card from their deck per unmatched icon that is then placed face down on the defending player's dominance card. If all power icons were matched by the defender's weakness icons, then nothing happens. In the refresh phase, you can discard any cards in hand and then draw up to your hand size, which is 5. However, you need to subtract the number of despair you have given to your opponent that turn from your hand size. So in this instance, I have 2 cards in hand and I choose to get rid of 1 card. Normally I could draw up to 4 cards, but because I gave my opponent 1 despair in the previous attack phase, I can actually only draw 3 cards for a total hand of 4 for the next round. Now we've gone over how to buy cards from the realm, attack and give despair, we can go back to the first phase, which is status. Remember that this phase is skipped for the first 2 rounds of the game. This phase is optional, where you can choose to resolve the despair pile in your opponent's play area. They then have to reveal all cards in their despair pile and the number of weakness icons shown. If the total number is 5 or more, which for these 3 cards is 5, then the active player scores 1 dominance and turns their dominance card to indicate this. Now, regardless of whether dominance was scored, all cards from the revealed despair pile are removed from the game. However, if you skip this phase, then the cards remain where they are. To win a game of Sins is the first player to reach the agreed number of dominance points. Although a deck builder, this is also what I call a deck destructor. The more powerful cards you buy means there's a greater chance they'll be given as despair to an opponent during attacks. That will hopefully mean you can be more confident in playing the status phase to score dominance. It also has a push your luck element too. Do you attempt to score dominance or risk another attack to try and give more despair first? Sins is very simple to set up and play, takes 10 to 20 minutes per game, and this depends on the amount of dominance that you and the opponent agree on. Deciding to play cards for buying or attacking is critical, as well as deciding which cards to play based on the powers they provide and the special ability the card also provides. Now, I have the Ooze of Gluttony pack, but there are 7 variants, and they can be combined if you want to play with more players. What's more, each Sins pack comes with a unique module that can be included in the game. In this version, we have special cards with light and dark sides. At the beginning of the game, a card is randomly given to each player and is placed with the light side facing you. When you decide to use the ability, you push the card to the opponent's play area, where they then get to use the dark effect and then pass it back to you, which is pretty cool. As each card is double-sided, you can choose what suits you best. I like deck builders, and as a filler, Sins is great if you want a few quick battles of a simple and fun game. This is Ninja Geek Games. Thanks for watching.